Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to the last edition of this webinar, the 16th webinar of Rex webinar called The Great Change. We started this series of webinars with an aim, a purpose to find new ideas to support the industry and also to help people to stay fitter and live in a healthier planet for a happier life. And this is the last edition. Then we'll take a break for the summer, and we have a new concept for starting from September. We'll tell you in the next weeks. And I'm very happy to introduce you the last panelists. We will have Eddie Tock, then Bill McBride, Brent Darden, Justin J.T. Tamsett, Mark Miller, and Merrit Laudati. And during the webinar, I'll choose 2 words, and I'll ask our Rex facilitator to tell us 2-3 tips regarding these 2 words that I'll choose for them. So there are 12 words, 12 areas of clever business, and then we'll give us the best ideas that they have heard so far in 4 months of webinars and Rex virtual meeting with our teams around the world. Let's start by introducing myself and Rex. I'm Fausto di Giulio, Rex CEO for the EMEA. And Rex is an international community of entrepreneurs and CEO for innovation, strategy, and leadership. And we meet 3 times a year for 3 days. And the goal is to become a better leader in order to build a better business and a better life. And Rex is the right place where you can find fresh, global, and impartial ideas, like in these webinars and today. Rex is like a cascade of ideas where you can choose the best ideas for you and to execute and to go deeper during the period between Rex meetings or Rex gatherings. We use what we call the Rex peer advantage. You are not alone in your business decision. So you can count on your peers, you can call them, text them, and meet them in order to get the best ideas and make the best business decisions. The Rex philosophy is this one: innovate your business by Rex-innovating yourself, because you can only innovate your company if you re-innovate yourself. And it's like an accelerator lab, Rex, where we visit a lot of fitness clubs. We test the concept that we see around the world. And we had the last face-to-face meeting right 1 week before Italy closed all gyms and all activities. At the end of February, at the beginning of March, we went to Dubai with a group of Rex, and now all Rex teams are meeting online with a virtual meeting. And I'm very happy to inform you that next week, the Rex Italy 1 team will meet face-to-face again after 4 months in Bologna for 2 days. So I'm very happy to inform you about this news. And okay, let's start with these words. And with our first speaker, that is also our CEO, Eddie Tock. Can you please, Eddie, open this last webinar? And you have did a lot of Rex virtual meeting. You've met a lot of club owners. So can you tell us about something about? I'll choose for you the word leadership. What is the best leadership advice you can give to an operator in order to be ready to lead a successful business in this post-COVID era?
Well, thank you, Fausto, and thank you everybody from the Rex team for helping over the last 16 weeks share all these great ideas with everybody. Just here in the US, we've had 256 virtual Rex meetings in the last 16 weeks with 185 Rex members. So it's been pretty powerful. And we have some amazing leaders. And, you know, probably the best piece of advice I can talk about is, you know, go back to Ken Blanchard, or the 1 Minute Manager. His famous saying is that none of us is as smart as all of us. And that's always been true in Rex, where we've had amazing leaders, willing to share, willing to learn, always looking to get better, despite the fact that they are probably very, very successful anyway. We've been very fortunate to have some amazing leaders over the years. We find that many of them are passionate, they're perseverance, and they're willing to share, not just during the 3 meetings a year, Fausto, but we have most of our groups are on Slack, and they're sharing ideas, if not 2 or 3 times a week, 2 or 3 times a day. So the leadership is about being willing to learn and put yourself out there and be vulnerable to be able to go to that next step. You know, in the post-COVID world, we have a whole new business. It's a chance to start a whole new business from scratch. So it's an amazing opportunity. That's the way we got to look at it. You know, Einstein talks about in the middle of every difficulty, there's opportunity, and I think there's opportunity for everybody right now.
Perfect. Thank you, Eddie. Let's go to Bill. Bill, I'll choose for you the word second lockdown. Today we heard that in Barcelona they had to close the gyms for the second time. So in your opinion, what are the 2-3 best things to do to be ready for, we hope no, but a second lockdown?
Thanks, Fausto. I think, you know, there's a few things that are relevant. If you're open now, you have an opportunity to plan the next shutdown that may happen to you. Whereas the first time we didn't have that opportunity live with our teams, it kind of, you know, crept up on us a little bit. So take the time to really hone in on what your member communication is going to be. But more importantly is what's the circumstance going to be with your staff? What's this going to mean to staff members? Are they going to get furloughed again? Are they going to be asked to take personal time off or vacation time? Really have those conversations with the staff. Right now, in times of uncertainty, you know, we have a stress response and we have our normal response. And with uncertainty, stress, disappointment, fear, the psychology of all this is really important. So when you're with your teams now, preparing for what might happen, potentially closing down again, have those conversations. If you had the luxury of getting open, you also had the luxury of some learnings. So what did you learn while you're open now? So debrief on those learnings so you can change whatever you might want to change during the next closure to get it even better than you got it the first time around. You know, is your flow pattern right? Is there some improvements to the facility that you now think you can make? You know, what did you do with your hours and your staff levels? It's a lot easier to be more conservative and add things back in later than it is to start with your full offering. You know, so if you shut down and have an opportunity to reopen, you know, do you want to have less hours, less staffing levels, and you can add back over time. But cost containment is going to be not something just for our industry, but all industry. You know, it's a major accelerated trend. All businesses are looking at how they contain their cost at this point. So look at those things. And then the last thing, Fausto, I would share is just consider all the different additional revenue sources that you might not have considered before. You know, one of the ideas we had in some former roundtable conversations, you know, maybe you have limited classes that you only let 10 people in, and you charge for those classes while keeping the bulk of your schedule as part of the regular membership. Maybe you have a mask-only area where everybody's got to wear a mask 100% of the time, and you let people reserve that spaces in that area for an additional small fee. But looking at all options and looking at it from a whiteboard standpoint. One of the things I value about Brent, who's the facilitator of the Rex Roundtable that I'm on, and what Eddie's created here is the whiteboarding. You know, how do we come up with ideas that neither one of us might come up with just in a vacuum on our own? So use your team in that same fashion. Facilitate ideas with your team. Those will be the key points I'd share, Fausto.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Brent. Let's choose another subject, a very important subject that Bill just announced. It's non-dues revenues, about revenues, and specifically non-dues revenue. You have led a lot of Rex virtual meetings so far. Have you seen a new revenue stream to grow from non-dues revenues?
Yes, thank you, Fausto. I appreciate that so much. Thank you for having me today. I've got 4 or 5 that I think are trending among all the roundtables that I speak with every single week and on our webinars here in the U.S. The first one, everybody will know, it's the digital offering online, not just of classes, but also online personal training. Some clubs are positioning that as a freestanding, membership, and they're charging for that. Others are using it as an add-on, a value add to existing tiered memberships and including that. But however you're doing it, digital offering is one that clubs just can't miss out on. Second, this is somewhat small revenue source, but it's taking the exercise outdoors. A lot of clubs that didn't have any outdoor exercise offerings are now creating spaces, some of them in buildings, some of them have rented big, huge tents. And they're going to offer those programs as long as the weather is good outdoors. Third, and this is not an ad, it's actually a takeaway, but clubs are really evaluating the program offerings that they currently have, that they've offered for years and years, and they're really looking at those more closely. If they're not performing and producing profits, then they're actually discontinuing many of the services and programs that just haven't been profitable or were minimally profitable in the past. The fourth one is healthcare reimbursement. And if not healthcare reimbursement, then specifically targeting special populations, those that have health concerns that may need some sort of specialized programming and specialized equipment. Those individuals, even more through the pandemic and after, are looking for resources and solutions to help them lead healthier lives. And clubs that may not have done that in the past are discovering that there's an audience for these special populations to provide them coaching and exercise alternatives. And then finally, this is really rampant, really around the world, I think, and that is the school systems are evaluating their scheduling as the fall semesters start. And they're announcing that schools are going to be only open a couple days. They're going to be on shortened schedules. Some are going to offer only digital platforms. And so clubs are realizing they have an opportunity to fill that void for the children. So they're ramping up a lot of kids programming to provide working parent solutions for children that normally would be in school. So after school programs, daycare, exercise related programs and coaching and even mentoring and tutoring. A lot of clubs are entering that market and finding that it's a good opportunity for them and something they can charge for and parents are willing to pay for. So those would be my top 5 or 6 trends that I hear that clubs are doing.
Thank you, Brent. Let's go to Australia. JP, what time is it in Australia?
It's only 12:10 on Tuesday morning.
Yeah, good. So you are ready to go to bed.
Pretty much.
JT, you lead a successful podcast and a Facebook group. What have you seen are the 3 best things to do and, of course, to not do for the reopening or right after the reopening?
Yeah, okay. So thanks, Fausto, for having me on, and congratulations on everything you've achieved over the last 4 months with these webinars. So my top 3 to-dos, the first one is not going to surprise anybody, but you need to tell everyone you're open. That what your hours are and that you're open, your member communications, you got to text, social media, video, email, signage, tell everybody that the doors are now open. Not only is it safe to train, but that you literally are open. My second reopening tip is don't discount. You don't need to drop your price. People will join anyway. They're ready to join. They're wanting to join, so you don't need to discount. And my third one is you want to create FOMO for members who are not back. FOMO, fear of missing out. So you want to be running programs and campaigns for the members that are coming into the club, take photos of them, post them on social media. So the members that are not back are thinking, what the hell am I missing out on? I need to get back. I need to go back to the club. So they're my 3 reopening to-dos. My not to-dos, number 1, don't hug members when they come back. You may well laugh, people that are listening, but please do not hug your members when they come back. Practice your social distancing or your physical distancing. Don't hug them. Number 2 is, it kind of flows on to what Bill was talking about. Please don't think that COVID is gone. So COVID is here. It's here to stay. Until we get vaccines, we still need to practice all of the important aspects of good hygiene and sanitisation in our clubs. So just because you're open, don't think COVID is gone. And number 3 is, don't try and reopen. Don't try and recover from all of this alone. Every athlete on the planet who has a major injury has a coach to rehab. They have someone to help them get back on track, get back onto the field, get back onto the pitch. As owners, you will also need a coach. You will need help. You can't do this alone. And I think Rex might be the answer.
Thank you, JT. Let's talk now about operations with Mark Miller. Mark, have you seen any dangerous operational moves?
Well, thanks, Fausto, first for having me on. You know, I wouldn't say that I've seen like dangerous operational moves, especially since the roundtables. I mean, being on these webinars with you, being on the webinars with all the roundtable groups, and then Bill, Blair, and Brent have been running webinars as well. I think there's so much information and knowledge out there that the club operators that are sitting on those are, you know, doing a tremendous job. And I think as an industry, we're positioned to really be kind of an essential force, and we've come united and all that. So I didn't really see any, but I thought of some that we have to all be wary about as we reopen, because fear is evident. You know, people are still scared. People are wondering. They're skeptical. The media does things that we all have to be thinking about. You know, the obvious one is we can never run out of cleaning supplies, ever. You know, we have to be well stocked, well prepared, and we need to stay on top of that stuff, because people are looking at joining clubs now. And when they join, the first question they're asking is not, do you have a pool? Do you have a basketball court? It's, tell me about how you're clean and sanitizing. So I think the second part is, a lot of us have done a great job in creating playbooks, and we put things together, systems, procedures, and all that stuff, but it can't just be on paper. It has to actually be in behaviors. So we actually have to run the plays. And that's going to take a lot of training and reminding of our staff. We've got to constantly be reminding them and staying on top of them. And we have to remember that our staff is at times going through a war zone because people don't want to listen to things. They don't want to do things. And so as leaders, we should be out there on the front lines with them. We should be supporting them. We should be reiterating to them, and we should be backing them up and standing behind them. If we don't, then they won't do the things that we need them to do. And what will happen is we'll have problems. And so then the last thing that I would recommend for all the leaders is consistency. We have to be consistent across the board, because consistency builds trust. And right now we need to build trust in our members that we are essential to their lives and that we are an important part. So that way they don't even think about shutting us down again. So those would be the things I would recommend.
Thank you, Mark. Mary, let's go to New York. Mary, let's talk with you about personal training and what are the best practices you have seen to keep growing the personal training revenue stream?
Thank you, Fausto, for having me today. So good to see everybody, and a special hello to our extended Rex family, who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet. But in regard to how to keep those revenues going, The key thing is, and I'll take this into two separate areas. In regard to club closures, obviously, as already mentioned, member engagement key. How do you do that? And I think a lot of clubs and a lot of PT leaders have learned that virtual training has been a key component to keeping members active, which also means revenues. So a couple of things, virtual and outdoor training. Clubs have actually loaned out equipment so that members can do weight resistance training as well as body resistance training. Some clubs have seen 50% active members continuing to train based on this one component. Virtual and outdoor team training, also another big one. Clubs have seen a significant increase in participation. And in some cases, we've had some clubs actually loan out spin bikes so that they can continue to take these classes with their favorite instructors. Virtual training allows trainers to actually go into people's homes. So in some cases, they've been able to recruit some new active members just by having them join in. So that's been a great asset as well. Fitness on demand, also very popular for when people need to do it, when it allows them to fit it into their schedule. Having a library of programming with their favorite instructors so they have them still close to home. Another component for keeping those revenue streams going would have to be health coaching and nutritional guidance. So during a time when people are working from home, very close to their refrigerators, some tense scenarios, being with family members for way too many hours in the week, the day, and the month. People are just looking for ways for reduction of boredom and temptation and to stay on track. So these health coaches have been very, very helpful. Once clubs open, big component is to kind of go back to basics and have your sales team, if you have one, or whoever that person is that's articulating the new membership, actually get very involved with PT at point of sale. And that can mean a lot of different things, but the synergy between these two departments, membership and PT, are significant, even more so now than ever. We're not selling based on price or promotion. That's got to stop. It's got to be about benefits, making yourself stronger to be prepared for whatever else the future has in store for us. But having that synergy between the two departments is key, because for the most successful clubs I've seen since they've opened, it's about getting that new member scheduled to pass the torch to that trainer that's going to make all the difference and obviously retain them in the end. Let's see, what else have I gotten from my peeps? Oh, as far as buying, once your clubs are open, think about offering a waived initiation fee, which has helped in regard to a point of sale purchase of actually buying some of the larger packages. Make it easier for them to become a training client, and make sure that a fitness assessment is also still very important. Getting them the hands in the trainer for a complimentary session is also still very important. And to make sure that when you actually are articulating or you're actually giving a fitness assessment, that it defines the essentials. So things like, just bring it back to a way it used to be years ago: weight, VO2 max, percentage of body fat, all of those things that a trainer needs to explain to a new member, and what will define then the changes needed in order for your members to reach their goals.
Thank you, Mary.
You're very welcome.
Okay, let's stay in New York and go back to Eddie. Eddie, you have a long, deep experience in sales. What have you seen? Have you seen any interesting new ideas to be able to increase revenues from membership?
Well, you know, it's interesting, Fausto, that when clubs started to reopen, there's such a pent-up demand that sales in most of the clubs that opened up just skyrocketed right off the charts. And, you know, was it that that was 2 or 3 months worth of sales just happening in a short time? Or was it because people were finally realizing that, you know, exercise is medicine? The benefits of exercise is something that I think more people during this crisis have figured out can't just be put off until you become 60 or 70 and have a serious illness and then have to make a lifestyle change. So there hasn't been any one thing. There's been a lot of little things I've seen that have happened. For example, make it easy to do business with. You know, during this time, majority of the clubs stopped charging freeze fees. What they've done with some of these people that are on freeze that were uncertain or uncomfortable about coming back, they've had them come in the club and work out for free for a week and still keep them on freeze. And that's helped get those members up to a different comfort level. We've seen that. We've seen a lot of clubs use videos on social media, but they're not selling an offer. What they're doing is they're saying, look, we're sanitizing. We're not cleaning, we're sanitizing and disinfectant, which is better words to use. We're safe to come in. And they're showing them, you know, using videos of how clean they are, as opposed to just taking an ad out and throwing an offer. I mean, that's always been old school, but this is a time when you've got to rethink your marketing, and you've got to look and say, you know, how do I sell safe? How do I sell sanitized? How do I sell the benefits of exercise more than ever? And to Justin's point, you know, don't discount your price. If anything, a lot of our ex members have talked in the last few weeks about, okay, how do we pay for all this extra cleaning we have to do? You know, what do we do now? We know we may have less members in the club. You know, so how do we make our budgets meet without just cutting expenses? And a lot of those answers have been, I'm probably going to raise my prices, maybe a little bit now, maybe a little in the fall, maybe a little bit in January. But, you know, we're going to change how we're selling. It's not going to be, you know, come in for free and, you know, here's the offer. That's old school stuff. That's what we're saying. But here's the last point. The clubs that had a great culture in their community, in their organization before COVID hit, every one of those clubs are coming out of it much better. So it really goes back to the main point that you've got to work on developing the culture, which in Rex, you know, we talk about working on the second and third agenda of developing a culture and working on strategy and then a leadership development of your team, and not just the operational things that we all have to deal with, but that alone is not going to give you a competitive edge.
Thank you, Eddie. Bill, what are the 3 best marketing campaigns you have seen so far?
Yeah, I mean, campaigns is an interesting word, Fausto. You know, I'm with Eddie. You know, we have sales, we have marketing, we have public relations. And what they all mean when they come together is, who are you as a brand? Who are you as a business? And the consumer right now is more judgmental than probably they have been. You know, they've got a fear of their safety going on and how they're evaluating businesses. So I love this quote that I learned somewhere along the way, you know, don't sell me something, solve me something. So from a marketing campaign, you know, I'm with Eddie. Focus on the solutions. Focus on the benefits. Don't focus on promotions and pricing, you know, but how do you show those solutions? And so, you know, Blair McCaney talks about in some of our webinars, you got to over professionalize your competition. You know, cleanliness, sanitation, disinfectant, pick that. That's no longer yeah, I expect my health club to be clean. That's now a core competency that you've got to be expected to do. So when you're looking at marketing, you know, use your member feedback, use your members' testimonials on what their experience was when you reopened. I'm a big proponent of video, showing video that, that shows your members what to expect when they come back in. Using video to do training for your staff on how to handle, you know, what's going on with the consumer's mindset. But this is a big opportunity for us as an industry to show how essential we are. We have a rise in suicide. We have a rise in depression. We have a rise in isolation. We have a rise in addiction during this COVID-19 period. So not only the physical attributes, but the mental and social attributes of our product were more critical now than ever. The last thing on marketing is transparency. You have an internal audience and you have an external audience. And if your employees don't see you to be truthful, authentic, and core and consistent with your core values, they won't convey that message to your members, and your members obviously, you are not going to fool anybody. So be true to your core values and be transparent in your messaging. Don't be afraid if you've had a case, people finding out about it. You want to protect people's privacy, but don't try and hide stuff. You'll lose trust with the consumer. So keep trust in mind and market the value and the experiences and the solutions.
Thank you. Brent, let's talk with you about management. What the best managers are doing in this period?
Yeah, Fausto, I think the best manager really focusing on three major big picture things. First, they're present, meaning they're visible with their teams, they're visible with their customers and members, they're communicating constantly and openly, making sure everybody knows what the future holds, at least, what's right around the corner, what's their next few steps. Second, they're positive. The leaders and managers have to remain optimistic. Even in these uncertain times, they've got to be a ray of hope that people hear, and out front, encouraging staff members and maintain that optimism going forward. And then the third one, planning. They need to be continuing to chart the course for the future, not only financially what's going to happen, but what's going to happen with staff and team members. What are they going to do about their program offerings, their club concepts for the future, and revising those consistently. So the best managers right now are being present, they're being positive, and they're planning constantly.
Thank you. Justin, I've chosen for you the word lead generation. Tell us
Thanks, Fausto.
3 ideas to attract new leads.
Thanks, Fausto. I would reiterate what Eddie and Bill said. I'd take it one step further, and lead generation is not just solutions, but it's solutions to a specific market. And I think one of the interesting things coming out of COVID is that I really believe that clubs with their lead generation have to really focus on market segmentation. So whether they are going after, older people or people who are, like Mary was talking about, special pops, or Brent was talking about kids programming, lead generation cannot be generic anymore. The more specific we are, the more chance we're going to get a response from our lead generation. When we reopen, we can expect referrals immediately to our club, provided no one else is open near you. If your competitors are closed, you're going to get a heap of referrals. But if your competitors are also open, then that's not your competitive advantage that you're open. So you really can't expect referrals immediately like you used to have. So from a lead generation perspective, I'm encouraging clients to drive usage campaigns in their clubs initially to encourage members to come back before rolling out a referral campaign. But a couple of the campaigns that I've seen or lead generation activities, and I think this is probably what most people are itching for, similar name, similar concept, different names. The Unsung Humans, which is a campaign that Anytime Fitness has run here in Australia. And I've also seen a similar one, which is called Superheroes Don't Wear Capes. And both of those programs are for the community to reward, if that's the right word, essential workers who have been working so hard during the last 3 to 4 months with 30-day free memberships. So basically, the average person can nominate an essential worker to get 30 days free membership at their local club, who is either an unsung human or a superhero who doesn't wear a cape. So they're just a couple of ideas. I'd also just reinforce again what Eddie, Brent, and Bill have said, the power of video. Video is the way to get your message across. It's a great medium, and you've got to be using that to generate leads.
Okay, thank you, JT. Mark, let's talk about the digitalization. How can we improve the digitalization of a fitness club, and in which area?
Okay, well, first off, I think we've all learned during this pandemic that digitization is going to be a key component of all of our clubs for the future. It's amazing how fast everyone pivoted to start doing it. But I think we have to understand that we have to now monetize this. I think a lot of organizations, we gave it away for free to kind of serve the members during the time of closures. But now we've got to find a way to utilize this technology. You know, as Bill was talking about with marketing, you know, videos has become more important. And, you know, so there's a way to use it, not just on the group fitness side or the personal training side. We've got to start to look at digitization across the entire brand. First thing we got to remember is that whatever we do digitally is a representation of our brand and our culture. So it should match the same values and purpose of things. And then I think we got to expand, like how do we use digitization to not only focus on lead generation and sales, you know, moving to an online platform for sales and membership, but also is there a way to use it to onboard new members? You know, are there ancillary services? So we talked a lot about the summers and all that. You know, we have food and beverage here in Maryland, and now what we're talking about doing is we're going to keep the food and beverage. We're going to move it to a digital platform, and people can get food on to go. So, you know, there's an opportunity for other things. If schools don't go back into session, all that, and they stay virtual, well, can the clubs support that virtual? Do we upgrade our Wi-Fi's? Do we bring the kids to the club? Do we do the technology, the training and all that? You know, a lot of clubs are now using it for reservation systems to get into specific areas or classes, programs. So, you know, I think we got to embrace it as an, you know, organization. And I think we got to use it not only for our members, but also for our staff. So Eddie talked about Slack. You know, we got to be able to use all that stuff. There's a great opportunity for training and reminding and doing things like this. You know, this webinar series for the last 16 weeks has been a digital transformation that has allowed people to learn and grow and still get access to, you know, experts and peers in the industry. And I think it's something that we should all look at continuing moving forward.
Thank you, Mark. Mary, we have an important word that is retention. What would you suggest to reduce the number of cancellation and freezes?
Yes, it's a very, very big topic right now. And as much as people are eager to and have been very positive about returning to their clubs, there's things that a lot of really great club leaders have been doing during the closure aspect, which is reach out and be in touch with your members. Email them, see how they're doing, see how they're feeling. And one club owner actually put it out there that if you'd like a phone call from one of us to, you know, talk to you or answer any questions. And they actually did get a lot of positive feedback about wanting to speak to somebody from the club. And in most cases, it was really just to say hello and words of encouragement. And we're in this together. And so they didn't feel so all alone. So it was actually pretty positive feedback when so many club members are actually afraid of opening up Pandora's box with what kind of questions are they going to ask? We don't know what day we're opening. It's not about that. It's just to say hello and that we miss you. And we're here for you if you'd like to chat. Once again, engagement. The key to retention is engagement. So doing everything during closure to keep your members engaged is key. Once again, going back to the virtual world of training. I would have to say that also a lot of communication has also been done through Instagram, through clubs messaging, Instagram. Once again, just words of encouragement, just getting people to hang in there when they're feeling so isolated, so alone, as many of us do feel that way in New York City. So that's been a big component. I would say for clubs that are opening, just think about, if you're not already, think about offering a 12 or 18-month membership commitment. It's good for a member to get in committed so that they start to actually understand the results that they'll achieve, not after 3 months, but after 4, 6, 9, and 12 months. And during those 12 months, for retention and for reduction in freezes, you've got to work really hard at getting them engaged. They've got to get involved with a trainer. They've got to get involved with group exercise, Pilates, work really hard to keep them active. Also, for a huge component right now is socialization. So those are some of the things to look at, that when you reopen, that's what the focus should be. And then I believe in the end, for all your hard work, retention, lack of freezes, building that community, and referrals will just kick in for you. So on the, just really quick, on the uptick of the 12 or 18 month, make that your best overall dollar value. If you feel that there's a need to come in with something a little bit more user-friendly so people can digest the price maybe a little bit better when they come back, or for new members, and then make your month-to-month the higher price membership with no promotional offers ever on that. It does help people get into that mindset of, okay, as a club, we're going to thank you for being with us for 12 months and be committed to yourself, and therefore you'll receive our best overall dollar value. It seems to be working for a lot of clubs. The other thing is sales team, just checking in, making sure when you open, that 30, that 60, that 90, that 9-month touch, that happy anniversary call. See, salespeople have time. They can call and check in on their members. I don't care what they tell you. Medallia, you know, what happens in month 9 is crucial. So many club owners, general managers really value the information they get through systems like Medallia, so that they can really recognize what's going on with people that get maybe disengaged from 9-month point and beyond. I do have one club owner that is going to welcome eagerly in here in New York by announcing the club is open to everybody in the world and letting the members know that their first month that the club opens, not when they come back, when the club opens, will be complimentary, so that hopefully there'll be fewer freezes for people that might not be able to afford to come back or maybe leery about coming back. So just a grand reopening of welcoming people open arms, come back as our guests for the first month. And then the end all is to continue virtual training. That's something that should go on. Some people might have to dial back the dues a little bit. So if they could at least be live streaming or have access to virtual training, it might be something else for those that don't really actually step back into the club yet, and you'll still retain them on some level.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
I have one question for everybody. The same question and for everybody. So the question is, what are the 2 pieces of advice you would have to help clubs be successful in the future? Let's start with Eddie.
Thanks, Fausto. Well, you know, I think there's a lot of things to look at, but Mary mentioned earlier, online nutrition and health coaching. I think that's going to be part of the future. A lot of Rex members are using Well Choices, and there's a few other companies out there. I think that's number 1. Number 2 is on the marketing. I think with everything that everybody's been talking about, communication, engagement, most clubs hopefully have a marketing director. Some clubs don't, but even a marketing director by themselves sometimes can't handle the volume of what needs to get done. That seriously, you have to look at some third-party companies to evaluate who's going to partner with you to help send that message out. I think you have to have an open mind to that and fit that into the budget as well. Because I think the one thing you can't cut back on is marketing going forward.
Thank you. Bill.
Yes, Fausto. I would say in closing, be lean, like really lean up your business model. You need to know every expense, every cost item. You need to be running as lean and optimally, you know, you need to know every dollar is going out of your business. Be clean, you know, again, core competency. Be seen. Make sure you're out there in the local community. Make sure you're part of the solution and you're talking about how you help others and help the community. Don't be afraid to charge. You're not in the fitness facility equipment rental business. You're in the healthy living and healthy lifestyle business. And you have to shift the mindset on that because it's much bigger than our four walls. It's outdoor programming, it's virtual, it's brand extension. Those would be what I would share just as the profitable club in the future.
Thank you. Brent.
Great. I would add on to what Bill said about taking wellness beyond your four walls, adopting a mindset that it's not just inside these walls, but we need to be an extension out into our communities of wellness and active lifestyles. And then my second point would be rebuilding that sense of community that's in your club and reinforcing the company culture that your club was founded on, those foundational values that are enduring. And even in times like these, we can't forget that our organizations are founded on those, and we need to be reinforcing those and making sure our team members understand how that plays a role in who we are.
Thank you, Brent. Justin.
Okay, so I agree with Eddie, Bill, and Brent. However, I'm going to say this instead. I want everybody to be super clear, but realistic in what they can or want to offer. And then they need to put all their energy into it. It's all very well to have some of these things that they want to do, but if they literally can't do it because they don't have the bandwidth, then don't try to do it. Just do what you can do and do that brilliantly. And my second point, Fausto, I hope you like this one because this comes from the great Italian philosopher. I did a bit of research, and the great Italian philosopher, Rocky Balboa, said, the world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place. And I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Thank you, JT. Okay, Mark.
I don't know how you follow that. I mean, the great Italian philosopher, right? I expected that to come out of Eddie, though, instead. So, Fausto, I think everyone is spot on. And so I'll just add some other sides of things. I think first and foremost, we cannot lose that we still are in the service business. And even though we wear masks, our staff wear masks, we can still smile through the mask. You know, we can still provide a great experience for the people that are in our clubs and in our communities. And so we have to make sure that we don't lose who we are and that we can still deliver on that service. And, you know, that ties into communicating because, you know, from a communication standpoint, that's service. And I forget who said it, but they said about being transparent and all that. And one of the things we don't want people to do is run into that MSU syndrome where they make stuff up, politically correct way of saying it. And then my second advice would be, we have to use this all as a learning platform, and we have to understand that. And I think, you know, Faust has used the word for, the Rex has used the word for a while called VUCA, you know, that we're living in a new world, that's a VUCA world, and we have to understand that, and we have to think about how we're going to adapt, and we're going to advance, and we're going to continue to grow our businesses. And, you know, we have to think differently, we have to be resilient. And, you know, there was a great quote that I read, that I shared with my team the other day that said, complaining keeps the focus on the problem at hand rather than the resolution sought. And so we got to teach our staff to not complain. Let's learn, let's adapt, and then let's move forward.
Thank you, Mark. Last but not least, Merrit Laudati. Merrit.
So some other items that haven't been previously mentioned, but yes, just to echo, from clubs that have opened, GMs, club owners, they say this from their hearts that no matter what you hear, stay positive, keep the optimism going, tell the Debbie Downers to stay away from you and just don't listen to the negativity. Make sure that you really get social on showing what you've done to keep the community safe, to include members and staff. That is the best thing you could be promoting during your closure as you're getting to reopen, is to communicate this via video so people can see what you've done and the investment that you've made to keep them safe. First impressions are key. Front desk, reception team, salespeople, managers, all wearing masks has been the overall positive in keeping members calm and them feeling comfortable. In regard to training with the trainer, you know, that's a conversation between a trainer and a client, or whatever your local government tells you you need to do. But you can't have more of an impression that your number one goal is to keep everybody safe. Clear signage of what the expectations are once they enter your home, your club, foot stickers to make sure people understand spacing, even more so at check-in. Members only, no guests. So it's showing your members it's not about selling memberships, it's about keeping them safe. Tour by appointment when you can, so that you understand what the numbers are that you need to also keep a secure and safe environment. Enforce the member behavior, that you want members to clean up after themselves. Everybody else will participate and kick in. Once again, if I didn't mention, stay optimistic and positive. And lastly, you know, salespeople, sales team, department heads, at this point, you've got to sell the benefits of regular exercise, not just the way it makes you feel, but how it strengthens your immune system, because that is the topic that everybody wants more information. Nutrition to keep me stronger, exercise to keep me stronger, mentally stronger, physically, spiritually stronger. Deals are done. Strengthening your immune system is what people want, and they will pay for it, and they will be back.
Thank you, Mary. We have reached the end of the webinar, and we have time only for 2 questions. So, Gabriela, it's your turn. Can you please choose 2 questions for our panelists? We only can allow to talk to
Sure. Yeah. Actually, the questions have been answered. They were mostly about digitalization. So what I'd like to do is, because so far all the time all the webinars have been addressed to operators and members and staff members and people who go to clubs and studios, and we have given a plethora of advice in great quantity and great quality. I'd like to ask you to change the focus and talk about Rex, if I may, and ask you, what would you say are the main benefits, 1 or 2 if you like, of being a Rex member, given that you have experienced this through a pandemic as well? So I would start with Eddie. Tock, please.
Well, I guess it goes back to what I mentioned earlier, that, none of us is smarter than all of us. What I've learned over the years is that everyone can learn, everyone can contribute. If you look at some of our most successful Rex members that have been with us over 20 years and never missed a meeting, they still have an open mind to learning. It's interesting that you mentioned this, Gabriela, because we started 2 brand new roundtables in the US since shutdown, and because of the demand. And one of the guys who's never met face to face sent me a note. I just want to read part of it. He said, "I've been so impressed with the Rex roundtables, I can't even articulate the value with the numbers. Because the amount of insight you get combined with the relationships you create, it's one of the most important things you can do as an owner." He goes, if I had to choose between this and a marketing budget, I would choose Rex every time. And this is a successful 3-club owner who's been, on every single call we've had for the last 16 weeks. I think that says it all, better than I could ever say it. And Thank you, Jeff Sanders, in case you're watching, for that quote. Appreciate that.
Great. What about you, Brent? Brent Darden.
Yes,
What would you say?
I would boil it down to this. I think there's a saying that it's lonely at the top, and for some of the club owners, I think, they don't have people to reach out to about things that they're challenged with, not just professionally, but also personally, because the people that they work with work for them, frankly, so they can't have some of those deeper conversations with their team. And then they really don't want to take it home to their spouses or significant others who may not have a feel for the business, so to speak. So the roundtables really are a community of caring club owners that truly have your best interest at heart, and the collaboration and that sense of camaraderie that comes with those groups that have been together for a while, I think is really, really valuable. And it extends beyond professional business to their personal lives as well.
Thank you. JT, what would you say?
Gabriel, I would like to ask the same question to our panelists.
If we have the chance, if we have time, yes.
We can allow 2 minutes more.
Yeah, look, I was so impressed with Rex when I was a club owner that when I sold my club, I decided that this was going to be my career. That's how much I loved Rex. But during COVID, and that sounds almost like a TV commercial. I was so impressed I bought the company, but I didn't buy the company. I just work for Eddie now. I think one of the interesting things for me that through COVID has been the emotional roller coaster that every owner has been on. They're up and down on a daily to weekly basis and coming together for weekly calls throughout this 16-week period. And hopefully, this might finish soon, is that it's been an opportunity for many owners to have conversations similar to what Brent was saying that they can't have with anybody else, and that other people may not in fact understand when they're venting or when they're just talking about their future. So the power is not just at a business level, it really is at a much deeper level than even camaraderie. It's full on support and empathy for what each other are going through at this time, and incredibly supportive.
Thank you, that's really useful. Bill, what would you say?
I would say there's a saying that one of the nonprofits uses, you already belong, now let's get you enrolled. There's an aspect of the Rex community that is welcoming, and it helps make everybody that's involved in that community better. But beyond Rex, we're social creatures. We need other people to get better. And I'm a big believer in synergy, that, 1 + 1 is 3. So how do you brainstorm? How do you get teams of people and other people to help give you advice and best practices? So, Rex is amazing, but you need people and you need support, and nobody ever got to where they wanted to get in life by themselves.
Thank you. Mary?
Unmute. Okay. People need people. Sounds like a song I know, but the friendships that evolve from these meetings, the understanding and being comfortable with each other, that it is a time to share best practices, to learn, to try new things when you get back home into your clubs. But the friendships that I've seen that have gone way past operating a business or getting more members or retaining more staff, has been pretty incredible. That it transcends into personal, they rely on each other, they cry with each other. It's a bond that has been tremendous in my life and in my career, and being a part of Rex is one of the happiest, wonderful, proudest moments in my life. It's really a great, great, great organization.
Okay.
Thank you, Eddie.
Thanks.
Mark, I think.
How about Mark Miller?
Well, I would echo everything that everybody said. So I've been in the Rex Roundtables for over 17 years, and I think not only has it evolved my business, but it's evolved me as an individual. And I think you don't go through, you don't go through work in it, you go through life in it. And like Brent had said, You know, it's so much more. And I remember years ago, it really hit home for me, the power of the Rex when my son was badly burned and all that, and all the people in the round table and Eddie, who just stepped up and contributed. And, you know, it wasn't just a financial contribution. It was, you know, a mental contribution. It was a physical contribution. It was, you know, and you think about it, and, you know, sometimes as leaders and all that, we forget a key word, you know, but I think in Rex, it's really about love. And it's really about, like, when you go through things in Rex, it's the things you need to hear when you need to hear it. And it's the support you need when you need it. And it all works out of love. And everyone there is committed to helping each other get through the most troubling times, both personally, professionally, and through their families and their businesses. And so that's really where the power lies.
Thank you. Couldn't finish in a better way. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And also I want to thank all of attendees that participated to our webinar so far and today. I want to thank all of you speakers, and also the Rex staff, Gabriella, Andrea, and Nicolas. They are here today with us as all the other 16 webinars. I want to thank you to our CEO, Andy Tock, and also to our founder, Will Phillips. And I wish you a great August. And next week we will start with the first new Rex gathering with the Rex Italy 1 team that is gathering after 4 months of lockdown, 3 months of lockdown and 1 month of reopening in Italy. So I will keep you informed, and be safe, be healthy, and I hope to meet you soon in some place in the world. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Something to close. Would like to say something to close? A closing phrase or words?
Well, Fausto, I just want to say thanks to you for putting this all together and being such a great leader and sacrificing, working so hard to not just help, you know, a few people that are in your roundtables, which you always do, but to help the entire fitness community throughout the entire world. You really stepped up. I'm very proud to call you my friend. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ciao, Fausto.
Okay.
Okay. Arrow.